time for holiday. Maya and Liam are twins. They live in London with their mom and dad. They always have fun trips when they have holidays. They go to different cities and countries. This summer, they will stay in a little house in the country. The house is in a village called Oak Creek, near a big town. Maya and Liam are not very happy. "Boring," says Liam. He looks at a map. The house is in the middle of a field. What can we do in the middle of a field? "Yes, why are we going there?" asks Maya. Their dad is very tired. He says he wants to relax and to sleep a lot. Their mom loves the country. She wants to walk and paint. "It is a very beautiful part of England," she says. "It is full of old stories, old ways, and things we don't know." "Things we don't know?" said Maya and Liam together. "Okay, let's go." The next day, Uncle George and Aunt Susan come. They have many bags. This year, the two families will go on holiday together. Mom drives her car. Dad sleeps. Dad always sleeps. Uncle George and Aunt Susan drive behind them in their old car. 2 hours later, they get to Oak Creek. They find their little house in the middle of a field. There are green hills, pretty houses, flowers, sheep, and cows everywhere. "It's lovely," said Maya and Liam. "It's perfect," said Mom and Aunt Susan. Dad says nothing. He is sleeping in the car. "What do you think, George? Do you like it?" Uncle George does not answer. He is looking far away. His eyes look strange. "What's the matter, George?" asks Aunt Susan. "Don't you like the house?" "Yes, it's wonderful," he says. "Come on, everyone. Let's take these bags inside." "Wake up, Andrew," Mom says. Dad wakes up. "What? Oh, where are we?" "We're here, at Oak Creek. Come and help. We must take the bags into the house." They take the bags and go inside. But Uncle George waits. He wants to talk to his wife, Susan. "I must tell you something," he says. His voice is very serious. "This place—" "Yes, darling, this place is in my book. Do you remember the book I am studying about old things?" "But George, that book is very old. It's full of strange writings and secret messages." "Exactly. Don't you understand? This is the place where—" "Come on, Susan. Come on, George," shouts Mom from the house. "We're coming," Uncle George and Aunt Susan answer. But when they walk to the house, their faces look white. They look very worried. The house is big. There are 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms upstairs. Downstairs, there is a big kitchen, a living room, and a study. Uncle George wants to use the study. He must finish some work during the holiday. Uncle George is a history man. "What does Uncle George do exactly?" Maya asks. Her mother says, "He studies history." Liam is confused. "But I study history too at school, but it's not my job." "Yes, but Uncle George writes books about history. He thinks about history. He tries to understand things that no one understands." "For example?" asks Maya. "Well," Mom says, "for example, the old stones. What do they mean?" "So what about the old stones? What is the secret?" "No one really knows," says Uncle George. "Tomorrow we can go to see them." Suddenly, someone knocks on the door. Mom opens it, and an old man comes in. He has white hair and a cross face. "My name is Thomas," he says in an angry voice. "I look after this house. Is everything okay? There is wood for the fire in the garden. There are sheets and pillows upstairs. If you have a problem, tell me." "Have you got any problems now?" Mom remembers. "Yes, Mr. Thomas is the caretaker. He looks after the house when no one is staying in it." "Thank you, Mr. Thomas. It's very kind of you, but we have no problems." Mr. Thomas wants a problem to be solved, so he is not very happy. He goes to the door, then he stops. He turns around and looks at them. Miss Green is coming, he says. Miss Green is coming soon. Be careful. He opens the door and goes out. What? Asks Mom. Who is Miss Green? Asks Liam. And why be careful? Is she dangerous? Asks Aunt Susan. Maybe she is a witch from the old stones, says Maya. Everyone laughs. Don't talk about things you don't understand, says Uncle George. There is another knock at the door. They all stop. There is silence in the room. Liam opens the door. No one speaks. Hello, everyone, says a happy voice. A woman comes into the house. She is quite old and a little fat, but she is pretty. She has blue eyes, silver earrings, and a big pink face. Hello! My name is Miss Green. Miss Green is a housekeeper. She helps with the cooking and cleaning when a family comes for a holiday in the house. She helps them. She lives in another house in the village with her son. Miss Green is very nice and they start to relax. Later, they eat a big dinner. Then they say goodbye to their new friend, the housekeeper. They are very tired, and soon everyone is sleeping. Everyone but Uncle George. He can't sleep because he is thinking about the book he is studying. In the morning, Maya and Liam decide to explore the small village of Oak Creek. Bye, have a nice time. Come home for lunch at 1 o'clock, says their mother. In the middle of the village, there is a post office, a bakery, a shop with green food, a new shop, and some other small shops. Let's buy something to drink in this new shop, says Liam. It's very hot. A woman is working in the shop. They say good morning and smile at the woman, but she doesn't smile at them. She looks at the twins with cold eyes. You two aren't from Oak Creek. What do you want? The woman is not very friendly. 2 cans of cola, please, says Liam. £3.20. She gives them 2 cans of cola and they give her the money. The woman's cold eyes do not change. Tourists don't usually come to Oak Creek, she says. Her voice is cold too. It's not a good idea, remember that. Yes, okay, thank you. Goodbye, says Maya. They run out of the shop very quickly. In the middle of the village, the sun is shining. Everything is normal again. Wow, there are some strange people in this village, says Liam. They walk along another street. Suddenly, a man appears. He is not very old. He is wearing a dark suit and a tie with a strange picture on it. The twins stop. The man smiles. He says, Hello. Hello, 2 explorers in Oak Creek. Are you on holiday? Are you having a nice time? Yes, thank you, replies Maya. My name's Alex Brown. What are your names? Maya and Liam Carter, they say together. Sometimes twins know what the other is thinking. Sometimes they speak together. Carter? Is your father the famous history man George Carter? No, he's our uncle, not our father. He's on holiday with us in Oak Creek. Do you know him? The man doesn't answer Liam's question. I see. George Carter is here in Oak Creek. Very interesting. And tell me, what is he studying at the moment? Oh, a really old book about old things and secret writings and... Sorry, Mr. Brown, but it's very late. We must go home and have lunch. Maya stops him. Come on, Liam, it's time to go. Can we meet tomorrow? Says Alex Brown. You can tell me about your uncle's old book. Okay, says Liam. Come on, Liam, says Maya, and the twins go back along the road. Sorry, Liam, but I don't like that man, explains Maya. He wants to know about Uncle George and his books. But Uncle George is very famous. Lots of people want to know about him. I know, but this man is different. I can't explain why. Not everyone is strange in Oak Creek. Think of Miss Green. She's a nice, normal woman. Yes, you're right. Sorry. But now it's 1:45 and we must go home. When the twins get home, everyone is waiting for them. Miss Green is there too. What do you think of our little village? She asks. The village is lovely, but some of the people are strange, replies Maya. Miss Green laughs. I know. Don't worry about the people. They don't see many tourists. Not many people come to Oak Creek. Are you ready to go to the old stones this afternoon? Asks Aunt Susan. Miss Green says, Ah, you're going to the old stones. It's nothing special, a circle of old stones, that's all. The old stones are near the village of Oak Creek. They take the cars and in 20 minutes they are there. Maya suddenly shouts, Look, there it is, and down in the valley they see Miss Green's circle of old stones. Each stone is amazing, says Uncle George. It's incredible, says Mom. It's magnificent, says Aunt Susan. Wow, says Maya. It's not very big, says Liam. Shut up, Liam. Everyone says. Andrew, what do you think? Do you like the old stones? Andrew's dad doesn't answer. He is sleeping in the car. Andrew, wake up now. This time Mom is very angry. Around the stones there is a fence. People can't touch them, but they can go very near and take photographs. Let's get an audio guide, suggests Mom. You listen and it tells you the story of the old stones. Everyone gets an audio guide and they start to walk around the big stone circle. Uncle George walks in the opposite direction. He looks at his old book of old things. He reads something, then he looks at the stones. Then he walks away. He looks at the hills and the trees near the stones. 3 hills around the stones. Yes, it is a kind of triangle, he says to himself. Then he looks at the stones again. Uncle George is thinking. Half an hour later, the others return. The old stones are fantastic, they say. But Uncle George is not listening. He is reading his book again and looking at the stones and the hills around them. Time for something to drink, says Mom. They all walk to the small cafe near the tourist shop. Come on, George, are you coming with us? Finally, Uncle George puts his book in his bag and follows the others. The family finally gets back to the house. Everyone is very happy, but they are also tired. The sun is shining and everything seems perfect. They park the cars and go to the house. That's strange, says Dad. I can't move the key. I can't open the door. Let's try the other door, Mom says. They walk to the small door at the back of the house. Suddenly everyone stops. The door is open. Impossible, says Maya. Only Miss Green has got a key. Mom and Aunt Susan shout. Thieves, they say. Inside the house, there is a mess everywhere. The cupboards are empty, the drawers are open, and things are on the floor. Our money, says Dad. My jewelry, says Mom. Uncle George says, What's missing? We must phone the police. They look in all the rooms, but nothing is missing. Look, our money is here. The thief doesn't want money, says Dad. And look, my jewelry is here. He doesn't want my diamond ring, says Mom. So why? What is interesting for a thief here? Asks Liam. Uncle George's face is very serious. I think I know the answer to that question. This is what the thief wants, he says. He takes the book of old things from his bag. That old book? But why? Asked Liam. I am studying the secret of the old stones. Some people think that it is a very old computer, Uncle George explains. I don't understand, says Maya. Old people understood lots of things that we don't understand now. Things about the stars, about energy, math, and talking to each other. We think that the old stones are a big computer. It connects information to other old computers around the world, like the tall stone buildings in Egypt, says Laura excitedly. Exactly. Maybe these computers talk to spacemen too, says Liam. Uncle George continues. My old book of old things has a secret writing. But there is a picture I don't understand. I want to understand the picture because I want to understand the old stones. This computer can be very dangerous because bad people can use the information. We must protect the book. Do you understand? Yes, they all reply. Now, let's tidy the house. Everyone must keep their eyes and ears open. Yes, they all reply. The twins are tidying the house. Suddenly, Maya stops and says, Liam, look. What do you think this is? She gives her brother a small silver thing. It is round with a triangle and a strange cross in the middle. It's got a pin at the back. It's a brooch. Yes, maybe it belongs to the thief. Let's give it to Uncle George. They tell their uncle the story. He looks at the small thing. He puts it on his desk and his face is serious. He doesn't say anything. Maya and Liam go into the living room. There's something strange about that thing, Maya says. I know that picture, says Liam. Yes, says Maya. Me too, I know it, but where is it from? At 7 o'clock, Miss Green arrives. She helps cook the dinner and listens to the story. Terrible, she says. Every summer there are thieves in Oak Creek. They know there are lots of tourists, you see. But you say that tourists don't come here, answers Maya. Ah, yes, well, it depends. Some summers there are a lot. Some summers there aren't a lot. Suddenly, a telephone rings. It is Miss Green's mobile phone. Oh, excuse me, she says and smiles at everyone. She goes to the hall and speaks in a soft voice. Yes, okay. Don't worry, everything's all right. I don't know, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow night. Okay, bye. My son, she explains. He's 27 and he doesn't know how to cook. Oh, can you believe it? Mom laughs. I'm sure he prefers your wonderful cooking. Later that evening, everyone is playing cards together. Mom is winning. She always wins. Miss Green says, Who wants a nice cup of hot chocolate during the evening, and at night it is cold in the house? Yes, please, they say, but Maya says, no thank you. The housekeeper seems unhappy. Why not? She asks angrily. Hot chocolate helps you sleep. I can sleep with no problems, thank you, replies Maya. Miss Green is not very happy, but goes to the kitchen to make hot chocolate for the others. It is creamy, chocolatey, and delicious. This is wonderful, Miss Green. What is the special thing? Do you have a secret recipe? Asks Mom. It's my grandmother's secret recipe, she says and laughs. She says goodnight and goes home. Soon everyone is very sleepy and goes to bed. Only Maya isn't tired. It is the middle of the night. Outside the sky is full of stars, but there is no moon. Everyone is sleeping. Mom is dreaming and Dad is snoring. Suddenly, Maya sits up in her bed. There is a noise. Someone is downstairs. She relaxes taxes. It is probably her father. He sometimes gets up and sleepwalks, but now she can hear her father snoring in his bedroom. She gets up very quietly. Yes, there is someone. The noise is in the study. She goes downstairs. She is very quiet. When she is outside the study, she stops and listens. She hears the sound of paper. I must be brave, she says, and pushes the door open quietly. Stop, thief, she shouts. But to her surprise, she sees Miss Green. She is sitting at Uncle George's desk reading his notebooks. Oh, Miss Green, it's you, says Maya. Hello, Maya. I can't find my keys. Maybe they are here? I don't want to wake everyone. Oh, all right, says Maya. But then she remembers. Miss Green hasn't got a car. At that moment, Dad and Uncle George arrive. They think there is another thief. Dad smiles and laughs. Oh, it's Miss Green. Hello, Miss Green. You're working late tonight. Uncle George doesn't laugh. What are you doing in my study, Miss Green? He asks. She tells him the story of the car keys. Uncle George replies, Tomorrow, we can all look for the keys together. Now, it's time to sleep. Good night, Miss Green. He opens the door and the housekeeper goes out. She doesn't look at Uncle George when she says good night. Everyone. For 2 or 3 days, everything is normal and everyone is happy. Miss Green says her son has got the car keys and they aren't lost after all. Maya looks at Miss Green but decides not to say anything. On Wednesday afternoon, Mom and Dad go walking. Dad wants to sleep, but Mom says, "Andrew, you can't sleep all holiday." "All right," he replies, but is not very happy. "What about you, George? Come with us?" "No, thank you, I must work." Aunt Susan laughs and says to Mom, "Sarah, your husband sleeps all the time and my husband works all the time." "Don't laugh, Susan," replies Uncle George. "My work is very important." Everyone laughs. Sometimes Uncle George is very funny. "Today I want to work a lot. Please don't bother me," he says, and goes to study. "Can I come with you too?" asks Aunt Susan. "Of course," they reply. They all put on their walking boots and say goodbye to the twins. Maya and Liam decide to explore a different part of the village. In the village, there is a small hill. It is a strange shape, and on the top there is a stone cross. The village probably has the name Oak Creek because there is a stone cross on the hill, says Maya. "Very clever, Sherlock," says her brother. They look up to the cross on the hill. 2 people are talking near it. The sun is behind them and the twins can't see very well. "Who are those 2 people?" they ask together. "Miss Green and Alex Brown." "Let's go and listen," says Liam. "No, Liam," says Maya, "we must." "Listen," suddenly she stops. Her face is white, Max. Now I remember. Liam's face is white too. He remembers the same thing. I know about me too. The symbol, yes, I know where it comes from. Yes, Mrs. Green's earrings are the same symbol. What I remember it from Martin Knight's tie. What does this mean? Mrs. Green and Alex Brown know the thief. Perhaps one of them is the thief. Do you remember Mrs. Green reading Uncle George's notebook? Do you remember Alex Brown's questions? What can we do? "Laura follows me," says Liam. They start to go up the hill, but Mrs. Green and Alex Brown aren't there. "We are too late." "Where are they now?" says Maya. "I don't know," answers Liam. "Come on, let's go home and tell Uncle George what we know." They start to walk home, but on the hill 2 dark shadows are watching them from behind the stone cross. Uncle George is happy finally he can work in peace. He makes a cup of tea and goes into his study. On his desk there is the old book of mysteries and the silver brooch with the strange symbol. He takes the brooch in his hand and looks at it. He knows it is part of the mystery. But how the circle is similar to the old stones, the triangle is similar to the hills around it, but what does the cross mean? Uncle George recognizes the symbol, but where from? He drinks some more tea. He looks out of the window. From the window he can see the strange hill in the village and the strange stone cross on the top of it. Wait a minute. He thinks of the strange stone cross. He looks at the brooch. Yes, it's the same. He quickly turns to a page in his old book of mysteries, reads something and shouts, "Yes! Now I understand. Now I understand. I must telephone Professor Hill in London." He takes the phone and calls the number. "Hello, Professor. It's George Carter here. Listen, we must meet. Can I bring the book to you in London? It's not safe here. There's a train at 5 o'clock this evening. It gets to London at 7 o'clock. Yes, see you at the station. Goodbye and thank you." He puts the phone down and picks up his cup of tea. "I'm sure that tea's cold now," says a cold voice behind him. He turns quickly and sees the shadow of Mrs. Green in the door. "What are you doing here?" he asks angrily. "You don't work today. What do you want? Mrs. Green's earrings shine in the sun." You know what I want, Carter, she says. Give me that book. Maya and Liam play near a river for some time, but later go back to the house. Everything is quiet. They don't have a key, so they knock on the door. Nobody answers. They knock again, and Mrs. Green answers the door. She is wearing an apron and she has a rolling pin in her hand. She says, "Hello, children. I'm making a delicious chocolate cake for lunch. Your Uncle George doesn't feel very well. Your parents aren't here, and I want to help." "What do you mean, Uncle George is fine?" says Liam. "He has a headache and a temperature," Mrs. Green replies. "He works too hard. This is very strange. Uncle George is never ill. Max and Laura don't believe the housekeeper. I want to talk to my uncle," says Maya. "Me too," says Liam. Mrs. Green is a big woman. She stands in the door and the twin can't pass. "It's not a good idea," she tells them. "Your uncle is upstairs. He's resting." "I want to see my uncle now," repeats Maya. "You can't see him. There is a doctor with him now." Mrs. Green shouts. Laura pushes the woman and she falls to the floor. Liam runs past her too. They go to the study, but their uncle is not there. They run upstairs. "Uncle George, are you all right?" shouts Maya, but there is no answer. Liam opens the bedroom door. Uncle George is lying on the bed. He cannot move his arms or legs because there is a rope around them. There is a big bump on his head and his eyes are closed. "Is he dead?" asks Maya in a frightened voice. "No, he's sleeping," Liam replies. "Look, he's breathing." "Yes, he's sleeping," says a familiar voice. They look up and see a man in the room. "Alex Brown," they say together. "Oh yes," he laughs. "Your uncle is sleeping now. We can take his book and discover the stones now. No one can stop us, especially two stupid children at that moment." Mrs. Green arrives. "I see you know my son," she says. She is holding the rolling pin. Suddenly, Maya understands what she wants to do. "Quick, Laura." He pushes his sister to the floor. The rolling pin misses Laura's head. Max jumps up. He tries to take the rolling pin from Mrs. Green. Laura gets up and starts to run away. Martin Knight tries to stop her, but she is very fast. Suddenly outside they hear the sound of a siren. It is a police car. "Quick!" The police shouts Alex. He and Mrs. Green run. When they arrive at the door, there are two policemen waiting for them. They put handcuffs on the two criminals and push them into the police van. Laura telephones for an ambulance for Uncle George. Liam speaks to the policeman. "Thank you," he says. "But I don't understand why." He stops under a tree in the garden. He sees an old man. Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas comes and talks to Liam. "Remember, boy, you must tell me your problems," he says. "I know these people. I know this place. I know when there's a problem." "Thank you," says Liam. "You're welcome," the old man smiles. "Now, how about a nice cup of tea?" The next day, everyone is at the hospital. Uncle George is in bed. The doctor says that there is only one problem, the big bump on Uncle George's head. Uncle George opens his eyes. "Hello, Susan. What day is it?" "It's Thursday, darling." "Oh, hello, Andrew." "Everyone. What are you doing here? Don't you have school today?" "Children, it's the summer holiday," Laura replied. "We're in Oak Creek, remember?" Says Liam. "Oak Creek holiday?" "No. I don't remember. We're in London, I think." Uncle George doesn't remember. He doesn't remember about the holiday, about Mrs. Green and Alex Brown, and most important of all, he doesn't remember about the secret of the stones. You remember the symbol, the brooch, the old book of mysteries. They ask him. He smiles and says no. Sorry, a policeman arrives. He tells them that the two criminals, Alex Brown and his mother Dorothy Brown, are part of a secret organization. The name of the organization is the Dark Knights. He says they want to find the secret of the old stones and use the secret to become rich and powerful. Mr. Carter is the only person who knows the secret, but I don't know the secret, says Uncle George. I'm sorry, everyone, but I can't remember. Perhaps it's the best thing, says Aunt Susan. The stones can keep their 5,000-year-old secret. It's not right to take it from them now. Everyone agrees. Perhaps we can find another secret next holiday, say Laura and Liam together. Perhaps next holiday I can stay in London, says Uncle George. He rubs the bump on his head. Poor Uncle George. Everybody laughs. No more adventures this summer, says Liam. But perhaps at Christmas, says Laura. Who knows?